the change is there. The change is happening and cannot be stopped. The transition from traditional broadcasting via DTT or DTH from linear to on-demand is happening all around the world, both for on-demand platforms or live, or even public broadcasters all around the world are moving or are combining their traditional distribution with the video streaming distribution.
Hi everybody, welcome to the video distribution category. I'm super excited to be here with Antonio. He's the founder and CEO of MainStreaming, as well as Philip, who's the founder and chief operating officer of product development, and Alessandro, who is the chief operating officer of business development. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
Hi, Kylie. Thank you for inviting us to this summit. Thank you.
Absolutely. Why are we having this conversation? Like I said, we looked at well over 130 companies within the space, and one of the companies that stood out to us was MainStreaming. They've built an end-to-end platform for distributing video content that makes that process seamless for their customers, but at the same time have figured out a way in which you can provide quality and control the quality of the viewing experience for the users, regardless of where they are. They have flexibility with the platform and different ways in which you can work with both video content, customize the video players, etc. But on the flip side, they've built out a number of feature sets in which not only have security tools that they've integrated to make that protecting content, but at the same time, they have AI solutions that enable them to offer a much better viewing experience and distributing the videos in ways that you probably wouldn't be able to see elsewhere. So it's fantastic to have these gentlemen in the room to chat. Before we even jump into questions, I think we're going to quickly cut to a video that gives a brief overview of who is MainStreaming, and then we'll jump directly into questions.
MainStreaming enables broadcasters, media and gaming companies to stream video with the best quality of experience to their audience globally. Vertically integrated from the network to the streaming software, MainStreaming simplifies the video workflow. We are now one of the largest networks in the world, built with over 3,000 points of connection with ISPs and telecommunication carriers. With our innovative artificial intelligence and its machine learning capabilities, we increase bitrate, reduce latency, and prevent congestion over the internet. With our innovative solution, stream live and on-demand video easily, everywhere. MainStreaming.
Fantastic video, guys. I'm curious, maybe is there any additional description that you wanted to add on top of that of who is MainStreaming?
Yeah, I can add some more information. So in few words, we create the intelligent media delivery platform to enable broadcasters, media, and gaming companies to stream content with the highest quality of experience possible.
I'm curious, maybe Antonio, if you could expand on this point too. Is there a backstory about why you guys had started this company?
The idea was born in 2009 when I went to New York for the holiday season. So during the end of the year concert, which was live broadcast online, the streaming went down for over 30 minutes. I was really surprised that streaming was still not working very well. So when I come back in Milano, I talk about it with the CTO of my previous company, Giovanni, who is also the CTO of MainStreaming. And he told me there was no specific service built for streaming distribution to large audiences. So years later, this problem still existed. So in 2015, I remember we decided to create MainStreaming to solve this problem. So we started with the intent of revolutionizing streaming distribution to large audiences.
What's interesting, and the reason why I wanted to highlight you guys, is because you provide this live and also on-demand video streaming that integrates all phases. You're doing ingestion, you're doing encoding, you're doing management, you're doing distribution. And you highlighted it a little bit already, but video overall, looking at the entire media industry, seems to be the most challenging asset to work with, or digital asset to work with. And I'm just curious, maybe, can you explain a little bit more to the audience about why distributing video has been a problem overall, and what were companies doing before using your platform?
So before using our platform, our customer used traditional content delivery services that were created many years ago for the web acceleration of the static content and were not designed specifically for video delivery. So the challenge of the online video distribution comes from the fact that today a lot of broadcasters and OTT TVs are starting to stream content online to millions of users. For example, Netflix accelerated the transition from traditional to online streaming. So in few words, when there are a lot of concurrent viewers, the telco's bandwidth is under pressure, the performance is downgraded, resulting in rebuffering, video stalls, and pixelation. So the problem of traditional content delivery services is their lack of intelligence. Our solution is based on AI technologies and that improves the delivery process by avoiding congestion and increase the quality of experience to the final users, also during peak times.
And we actually might be highlighting the point that you mentioned with the uniqueness about the platform itself, because I know one of the biggest trends overall within the specific video distribution category is this ability to offer an end-to-end solution for your clients and customers. And you guys, I think, provide the complete package plus some. And I'm just curious, maybe not to go through all modules, but is there any modules or features of your platform that really resonate with your customer base?
Yes, absolutely. We start from the ingest, so we can ingest every kind of protocol, and for the live or for VODs. But for the live, for example, we can immediately on the fly encode, transcode, and package, add insertion, DRM, apply security feature. And once the content is ready, we immediately start to delivery through our platform and also our player but we have also the player. So we have the end-to-end solution, but I think it's more important also to focus on one aspect that I think is unique. This aspect is that the traditional broadcasters, gaming company, media companies usually starts with one CDN as supplier because they don't know the market, they don't know how they work. Very quickly, they understand that it's important to have a multi-CDN approach because for resilience, because one CDN is more performant in one region and less in another. But when your core business, when your audience pay a subscription, pay $10 or €10 to see a football match or a concert, and they expect to have the same quality that usually they receive from satellite and digital terrestrial transmission. So in that case, it's very important to have the guarantee, to have the governance of the entire end-to-end process. And usually the traditional content delivery networks are a black box. So you not very have the complete governance of the end-to-end process. In our case, we are specialized that we delivered our solution also in a private way. That means that we dedicate an infrastructure for the broadcaster, and the broadcaster can have the complete governance over all the end-to-end process. Of course, this is integrated with our global platform, also for the overhead, for the overflow, sometimes when it happens. But the important is that we bring back to the broadcaster and gaming company the complete governance of the entire process. This is our secret sauce.
No, I think that's a lot of the value and the reason why we're highlighting you guys is because of that and having that control over that end-to-end process. Diving in a little bit deeper on the component that you just talked about, Philip, is it seems like there has to be a combination of protocols or infrastructure or governance needed to really distribute quality, low latency, live or on-demand video. Can you share maybe a little bit more detail about how you're able to do this? How can you provide that quality, low latency video for your customer base?
Of course, with pleasure. We started from scratch to build a completely new infrastructure because we noticed that the infrastructure built 30 years ago for web acceleration was not efficient. They shows their limits in the prime time for millions of concurrent video players. For that reason, we started from scratch to build our network infrastructure. On top of that, the hardware that is made by us and is very performant and very energy, let's say, doesn't need too much energy. This is very important for us. And on top of that, we built our AI, artificial intelligence platform. The combination of these 3 layers. We think that with these 3 layers, we don't have the governance, because too much often I heard, oh, it's a network problem, so yeah, ISP problem, or it's a third-party problem. In our case, we built a full stack integration. We own every layer, and also for that reason, we can immediately understand what if something goes wrong, and with the continuous flow of metrics, our machines, our intelligence can decide in real time to act, to make some action to bring back the quality expected. This is the core of the technology.
And Tony, you're mentioning this a little bit earlier too, about it's quite unique. But another thing that I also want to highlight, and this is a trend that we try to see in the video distribution category as a whole, is flexibility. Your platform has a lot of flexibility, I think, whether it's everything from working with a variety of different video formats, offering even customizable video players, you provide scalable video management, distribution models. Maybe you can highlight on why this is important and the different flexibilities, the ways in which you are flexible for your customer base.
What we call flexibility for us is the capability to adapt the entire platform for the broadcaster needs that they don't know they need, because it's something that is changing every day. So there are new business models, and we have to be able to follow the gaming companies and the broadcasters to apply their new business model. Often they ask us something that we didn't think yesterday that become a need today, and we have to be able to adapt our platform. This is very easy for us for 2 reasons, because the platform is completely owned by us and designed by us, and also because it's conceived for that, because we know that is something completely new protocols. 3 years ago, there was not ultra low latency protocol. Now it's a standard, and we are applying this standard for the major Italian broadcaster, for example. So I think the flexibility for our market, for our category, means the ability to adapt very quickly, to invent new features that the broadcaster starts to understand that they need, and yesterday they didn't know. So this is flexibility for us.
No, it's fantastic that you offer that flexibility, especially what you're referring to is how different protocols didn't exist 3 years ago. Now today we have the whole structure is changing quite quickly. And I think that speaks volume to how the media landscape overall, how video is becoming more and more of an important component as a digital medium to convey content or distribute content overall, and making sure that the rise of video, it seems like it's just going to continue, and being able to have tool sets that support video distribution management. It's, again, video is a very hard digital asset to work with overall. And so it's fantastic that you've built that flexibility and solution where you can be nimble overall. But there's one thing I also wanted to highlight, which I thought was quite unique about your platform. It's in the security solutions that you've added on top. I know you have plugins for digital rights management solutions, but you seem to have an additional set of security solutions that you provide. And I'm curious what those are and why you provide those.
Yes, the challenge here is also to be able to can apply security in instance in few seconds, again, on some content or some situation that you didn't know 2 years before. So for that reason, we invested a lot to allow the content owner to very quickly and very easily define security profile, and can, with one button, can apply the security profile to tons of content, and in a few seconds, these security profiles are applied all over the world in the entire platform. So for us, to define or to change a security profile of one content, of 1 million of contents, it takes always few minutes, or maybe something more the first time, because you have to understand what you want to secure, where, what countries, what assets, etc. But once you have the idea clear in mind, to apply the security to our content is matter of minutes. This, I think, is very important.
Really fantastic. I want to take a step back now, less on the product and more just general market questions overall. But even before I do that, I'm just curious, what is the business model or what is the relationship that you guys have with your customer base today?
Our business, what we propose is for our service is a platform as a service model to all our customers. That means that this model applies to both customers that they choose the global distribution network, or those that, as Antonio was mentioning before, they choose our dedicated private solution. Our model, because the concept of this model is to provide not only the best technology, but also the best service in order to guarantee that quality of experience that both Antonio and Philip mentioned before. Okay, and we can guarantee that only if we service the customers on their entire journey of the delivery streaming.
Interesting. And it definitely makes sense how having an end-to-end platform that can cater to the service that the customers need through that entire journey, and then being able to provide not only at the platform level that supports that journey, but then also being there to help your customers in that journey as well, and catering to that I think is a fantastic approach. One of the things that's really intriguing about the media industry overall is the way in which content is evolving. And I know, Philip, we talked about this a little bit earlier about how some protocols are changing quickly, but sometimes there feels like there's shorter content. Sometimes there's a variety of different platforms that exist now. There is a variety of video content formats. How do you think these constant changes are affecting video or video industry, and how does MainStreaming evolve?
The fact is that video today is the new standard of communication. Okay, this is the fact that we need to consider, and we need to start from that. Today, 75% of data exchange in internet is for video, and in 2 years' time, we will be over 80%. That doesn't apply to short, longer HD or non-HD video. So once that if that is the assumption, what we need to consider is that each type of communication has its own format, but all of them, they have exactly the same requirements. They need governance, as Philip was saying, and they need to guarantee good quality or best quality of experience to the final user. And this is where MainStreaming platform is across the entire genre or the entire different types of content that you mentioned before.
Absolutely.
That applies to a media owner, a broadcaster that is shifting from traditional television to on-demand, but also applies to enterprises that are using more and more video to communicate internally to all their employees base and to all their offices around a country or around the globe.
It definitely makes sense. And even going back in our earlier conversation, given that you guys have captured that end-to-end ecosystem, making sure that you can manage that process, regardless of how the evolution of video is changing, you guys can cater to that very quickly and have demonstrated that as well. This past year, it's been very interesting. We've gone through a pandemic, and I have to ask, has the pandemic affected your company or your industry at all?
My opinion is that pandemic has affected the entire world heavily, and we are all in the same situation today, and hoping we can very soon get out of this disaster. But from a business point of view, from an industry point of view, I think that the trend, the transition to on-demand and to streaming video over internet was already in place since few years now. The pandemic has accelerated that kind of adoption. We have been, all of us, at home, more time, having more time to watch television. But even today, we are doing this video call, through an instrument that drives video as a main element of communication between us and to all the public that will listen to this interview.
I had one last question here before we close out, gentlemen, but again, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I'm just curious, from your perspective, where do you think the future of video distribution is going, and what do you see that most people don't?
My point is that I don't think we see something that others don't see. We all, as I said just before, the change is there. The change is happening and cannot be stopped. The transition from traditional broadcasting via DTT or DTH from linear to on demand is happening all around the world, both for on-demand platforms, thinking about Netflix, Disney's, or live like Sky, DAZN, or even public broadcasters all around the world are moving or are combining their traditional distribution with the video streaming distribution. And this is something that in the next 3 to 5 years will accelerate and will reach numbers of millions of people watching in each country, every night, content through this methodology. And even during the day, there are now millions of people using this kind of video instruments in order to work, to chat, to do this interview, or to have entertainment between friends that cannot meet in person.
No, it definitely makes sense. And it's like you mentioned, it's in front of us. We see that video is dominating as the new means of content. It's exciting. It conveys a lot of different unique aspects of a story, or makes engaging with other individuals a lot easier, and a lot of other things. But the reality is video is also very difficult to work with. And having companies like yourself, MainStreaming, stepping in and providing an end-to-end solution that really enables anyone with video content to distribute it and manage it in a way that's very simple is fantastic. And also continuing to provide a great experience to the viewers on the other side. I think overall what you guys have done is very important. The questions that I had before I close out, did you have any things that you'd like to share, announce, or any asks of the audience?
So I can add something. So as very easy recap, 2020 has been a very challenging year, but we are excited about we closed an important contract with Sky, DAZN, Rai is our national broadcaster in Italy here, and with our other many customers. So recently also we graduated in Microsoft Partner Program Scale Up. Is an important program in Microsoft. We are now listed in Azure Marketplace, and we are co-selling also in with Microsoft. All of this was possible thanks to our amazing team. So I thank you for this very strong effort with our team, and with the support also our investor, United Venture, Indigo, and Sony. So we are currently working to consolidate the European market, expand our presence in the US, and working also on the next round of investment to continue to scale up the company. So we are very happy for this last year.
Gentlemen, again, thank you so much for taking the time. And for the audience, why we had this conversation, we looked at well over 130 companies in the video distribution category. The company that stood out to us was MainStreaming for a lot of different reasons, and you heard about them today. One, end-to-end platform that offers a lot of flexibility in managing video content, but also on top of that, you have security solutions. On top of that, you have a lot more control and ways in which you can manage that experience of video being distributed to the audience, not only making sure that the customer viewing experience, it's fantastic quality overall, regardless of where they're based, and being able to help your customers so that end-to-end process of managing video and distributing video, I think is fantastic. Gentlemen, again, I thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Thank you, Kylie. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you.